So,
When is Obama giving this speech?
Sunday.
This Sunday?
Yep. So if you gave me that letter, I mailed it on Monday. If you haven't given me the letter, can't mail it. But I got envelopes on the back. Okay? So, if you look at the calendar, I put your guys' videos at the top, but if you scroll down, the same stuff's still there. Here's what we're going to do. Armenian genocide is somewhat resolved. Now, whether our president and our Congress does something about it, we'll find out on Sunday. But we're going to pick back up where we left off before the Armenian genocide, which was the Treaty of Versailles when we negotiated that. And basically, we decided to punish Germany, blame World War I on them, take away most of their territory, and make them pay a huge sum of money for all the damage they caused in World War I. And I told you when you walked out of the room on that day, it was the block day before spring break, and you all forgot, but now you're going to remember, this is going to come back to haunt you. Okay? Here's what history tells us, if you don't know this. When you are the victor after an argument, a fight, or a world war, I don't care if you're talking like disagreement with grandma over the dishes and you won, or a world war. Okay? There's only two ways to handle your defeated opponent if you want a lasting peace. You don't want to be fighting them again tomorrow. Does anyone know what one philosophy of handling them is? You won that war, that argument. There's only two ways to treat them if you want future peace. What's one? Kill all of them. Okay? I like to call this the Roman method. If you remember the drunk Carthaginian elephants, right, from the Punic Wars, after the Second Punic War, Rome made Carthage sign a peace deal that said, you will never fight anyone again without our permission. Basically, you don't get to have an army, Carthage. Now, that's totally unfair, but when you win, you get to make the rules. Carthage signed it. Carthage broke it. The Romans showed up with an army and said, we told you guys not to fight without our permission. And they surrounded the city. They ended up killing every single man, burning down the city, and selling every single woman and child into slavery. They say they sowed salt into the fields of Carthage. Salt is too expensive to just throw in the dirt. But they basically obliterated Carthage so well that historians today aren't even exactly sure where it used to be. Now, did the Carthaginians cause the Romans any more problems for the rest of history? No, they did not. Problems with the Roman method. It involves potentially mass murder, right? And if you're talking like an argument with your mom over the dishes, I know this sounds crazy. One way to guarantee you don't have another one is to kill her. However, you will go to prison for the rest of your life. So here's what we have to agree about the Roman method. Even though it works, it does work. The downsides, the cons, the legal trouble, the moral implications, usually we say are not worth the price you have to pay. That leaves us one option. Does anyone know what it is? Yes, we hate to admit that, but be nice. Treat them with respect and dignity. Don't blame everything on them. Now, why is this a relevant topic before we start the League of Nations? How did we treat Germany after World War I per the Treaty of Versailles? Very punitive, but did we kill Germany, break it up so it no longer exists, or anything like that? No. Okay? Have you guys ever heard of a guy named Niccolo Machiavelli? He was an Italian prince. Have you ever heard someone say like, that was very Machiavellian of you, Tyler? Okay, he wrote a book called The Prince. No, kind of the opposite. Machiavellian means like cold, calculated, and conniving. He wrote a book on like how to be a king. Okay, and he basically said, if you have to choose between the two, it's way better to have your people fear you than love you. That's the kind of king. He wrote like how to be a jerk king. That was his book, The Prince. There's a lot of good quotes. Okay, but here's a really appropriate one for the Treaty of Versailles. If you have to inflict an injury on a man, if you have to, like you got to hurt him, you got to fight him, it should be so severe that you don't have to worry about them coming back to haunt you later. Right? It's kind of like if you walk down the hall and punch the guy in the arm, now he's mad, he's going to come back and get you. So it's kind of like if you have to fight, you better really kick his butt and make sure he can't come after you in the future. Think about Germany being that guy. pay millions of dollars, taking your territory, you don't get any tanks. We're being jerks, but we didn't take away their means of getting revenge. So they're going to sit there and stew and plot and say, man, you guys screwed us over in the Treaty of Versailles, and we're going to get revenge. Okay? So the lesson is either kill them all or be nice. And really only one of them is an option in life today. We didn't choose one of those after World War I. We punished Germany. Not so severely that we need not fear their revenge, just enough to make them mad and want to come after us. So what we're going to do is if you go to the modules link, it should look different.
We did punish them?
Oh yeah. Okay, if someone came to us and said, hey America, you don't get any more aircraft, tanks, submarines, and only 100,000 guys in your army, what would we say? Yeah. Who are you to tell us what to do with our army? It's like a human right for countries. Like, you get to have your own army, so what? But that's what we told Germany to do. So the Armenian genocide is still there. I'm going to collapse it. If you didn't know, that's what the little triangle does. Because you should be done with it.
Don't collapse it.
No, I didn't turn it off. I'm saying I'm getting it out of my way because I don't care. We should be moving ahead. And even though I got lots of stuff coming up that you can't see yet, the League of Nations should show up today. So here's our job today. We're going to go to that first link. It's an assignment. We're going to do it in class. That's called League of Nations Introduction. Rather than me give you a 15-minute lecture or say, here, read this, it's okay. We'll get you back on task. I have for us, again, one of the few things that I've actually built and made myself. One of our fun little simulations where you each get to be a country in the League of Nations. But here's the problem. If I pass these out right now and say, you're Italy, you're Czechoslovakia, you're all going to go, what's the League of Nations? How does this work? Why are we here? What are we trying to accomplish? So, before we can do that, what we're going to do today is sort of like a scavenger hunt. About 7 or 8 questions about how this League of Nations work. Okay, how does it work? What are the rules? When we vote, how many votes do we have to do something? If a country's misbehaving, what can we do to them in the League of Nations? Okay, if you already know this stuff, all you got to do is write the answer. If you don't know this stuff, we got to practice more on evaluating sources. Okay, and you get to pick your own sources. And there is no one website or Wikipedia page that has all of the answers. Okay, so if you go to that Google Doc link at the top and make your own copy of that, it should look like my screen. Okay, I lied. There's 9 questions. I said 7 or 8. Here's how today works. When you find what you suspect to be a good answer for a question, you type in the answer and you give me your source. When you have all 9, you flag me over and say, can you check these? And you need an answer to whatever question and a link. You can definitely use the same link. There's some, okay? I mean, here's an obvious one. There's a Wikipedia page on the organization of the League of Nations. You might use this 3 times and have that same link and say, here's where I got that. Okay? There's some other good websites, like this one, that maybe you use once or twice. So you can use the same source as many times as you want, but I'm telling you right now, there is no one source on the internet that has the answer to all of these. Okay? And I'm a big fan of YouTube videos. There aren't many good YouTube videos on this topic, so I wouldn't waste your time on that today, because I've looked. Now, when you have me check them, and I tell you they're good, I send you on a break, you come back, and you get a folder, which is going to be your country that you get to be for the rest of today and then Monday when we come back. Okay, and we're going to reenact some things from the League of Nations and say, if you guys were in charge, how would things have happened differently? Okay, so when you have all of these with a source, you check it with me. When they all check out, you put it in Canvas, you take your break. Okay, and that is the only thing you have to turn in this week. Okay, because you already have your letter in, that was due Sunday. All you have to turn in this whole week is this, and we're going to do it right now in class. Okay?